Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here for the Pop Culture Cosmos. Lakers Fast Break, Lakers Latest, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, State of Pro Wrestling, all that good stuff I do on an every now and then basis right here for you all over the place on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, wherever you go ahead and catch your media. Also, as well, all the big shout outs that we need to give to people all over the world that are listening to us on radio stations all over the world. Thank you so much for doing so. And then, of course, also everyone who's listening to this on our podcast outlet like Apple Podcasts or Spotify or something therein. I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to go ahead and check us out right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. It is, of course, the man behind Humanica Media, the Happy Hoarder, the Plucky Gamer. We've got all these things that we do and we've come up with. And my gosh, at least we can say we have a long list of stuff attached to our name, but it is a good man indeed. Please go ahead and check him out at all those great sites that you can catch him at. It is, of course, Josh the Great Peterson. What's up, man?
What's up? Yeah, we have definitely a long repertoire of shows and things that we've done. I was actually just thinking about this past weekend because I'm like trying to figure out, like, I want to do something with Topicocalypse. You know, I'm like, I don't like, we tried to reboot it and I don't like what happened with it because it started to sound more like a news show, and I was not that was not Topicocalypse to me. And that was just me. Like, I got a bunch of people to talk about stuff and then they just went off on political stuff. And that's not what Topicocalypse is to me. So I'm like sitting here trying to figure out, like, what do I want to do with this? And as I'm going through all these old episodes, I started to reminisce about like all those times in Retro City Games and, having you on talking pop culture. Like, I want to do something that gets back to what made that show so much fun to do.
Hey, just let me know. I'm more than happy to go ahead and do it. And speaking of Retro City Games, as someone who has supported us throughout the years with their good word and just their kindness to us, hoping we can go ahead and have that live conversation sometime down the road. I know that we were talking about doing something for 500. It didn't quite materialized. Their schedule is just wreaking havoc. This weekend they were in Arizona for the Game On convention. I know Rob and Jay were there as well, announcing Super Nintendo Quest, their latest venture. I'm hopeful for them because that's a tough market now. It's not what it was like when it was Nintendo Quest, my friend, when that was a great novelty and that was it. I talked to Rob about this live on the air and he kind of like poo-pooed me on it, and I'm just telling him, Rob, there are so many YouTube channels that do these things, so it's not as easy as it once was. And it's not like it easy now, but I guess Super Nintendo Quest, Jay is getting a certain amount of funds that is going to be given to him or he's going to work with in order to go ahead and try and get that out there as far as see if he can get the whole collection and whatnot. So it'd be interesting to see. The thing with those two is that they always have a great camaraderie with each other. So I think that's what really brings viewers in, because I know that, like I said, there's so many channels doing their own PlayStation 2 Quest or Xbox Quest or
Yep.
they're all doing their collection. Yeah.
So, it's funny because like the Nintendo Quest, something Rob has always kept really close to his chest was like the starting budget for that. But I'm really curious, like, how much do you have to actually collect an entire set of games? Because I know, and we've talked about this with Doug before too. It's like the one that Doug says is the cheapest, or not cheapest, probably the easiest is going to be Nintendo 64 and Sega Saturn because they have the least amount of games, but also they have some of the most expensive games. So it's I guess every set's going to be different. But yeah, I'd be really curious to know if anyone out there has actually collected an entire set, like let me, you wouldn't mind sharing like how much you spent on it. I'd be really curious.
It is so tough though that it's not the getting the common, as you know, when you're collecting these things, it's always the high priced ones that
Yeah.
are an issue. So yeah, that's the intimidating part. So again, the dynamic of the twist in this is the dynamic between Rob and Jay. Their camaraderie, their interplay with each other is the key to driving their films when they work together. And that I think is the secret sauce for them on this, because again, the story matter has now been utilized and gone over now, on several occasions by YouTubers all over the place. But what makes their stuff better than the others is the fact that those two have such a dynamic because they've been lifelong friends and gone through highs and lows of life with each other.
Mhm.
Looking forward to seeing what they can bring with Super Nintendo Quest. And after this, where do they go from here? The Nintendo Wii Quest, GameCube Quest. I like to see what they do as far as any other Nintendo quests that they have in mind, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, they have to go backwards because there's not a lot of physical games being released, or not as many being released these days as there were now. So if you're to try to collect an entire set of like Xbox One or PlayStation 4 or 5, like most of the releases are digital.
We could do a Nintendo Quest type deal if you want, my friend. We could do the Nintendo Virtual Boy Quest. That will take up a full 10 minutes.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just the only one we have to worry about is getting Snow Brothers, because that's the most expensive of all of them. But again,
How
our
much is that
best of
one?
what? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, how much is that one?
Several hundred, I think.
Mm.
Maybe even topping 1,000. I haven't looked at it lately, but I do know by far and away it is the most uncommon of the Virtual Boy games. Most of the other Virtual Boy games are uh, reasonably priced and whatnot, and somewhat easy to get. But yeah, it's that one. But there's not too many games, period. So, like I said, it wouldn't take us long to get it. But I wanted to go ahead and wish our best to both Jay Bartlett and Rob McCallum on Super Nintendo Quest, which was announced this past weekend at Game On convention in Phoenix. So if you want to go ahead and find out more, hit up Rob McCallum on his social media as well. But great show lined up for us today, Josh. It was the Oscars. This is the aftermath of the Oscars. Did you get a chance to peruse or partake the Oscars a little bit, my friend?
I have been through 4 different, online publications, and nobody will just straight out just list, like, who won what. It's all you have to read through all the, paragraphs to do it, and I don't have time to do that. So can you tell me or send me a list, like, show what how do I see who won these things?
I can tell you offhand, my friend. Actually, when I Bing it, it came
Alright,
up really easily for me. Oscar results on a Bing for me. Um, I,
so
it- Best
maybe I'm
Picture,
doing the right keyword.
yeah. Best Picture was One Battle After Another. Paul Thomas Anderson, who directed One Battle After Another, was Best Director. Michael B. Jordan for Sinners was Best Actor. Jessie Buckley for Hamnet was Best Actress. Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, Best Supporting Actor. Amy Madigan for Weapons was Best Supporting Actress. Best Original Screenplay was Sinners. Best Adapted Screenplay was One Battle After Another. Best Animated Feature was K-Pop Demon Hunters, who also won for Best Song with Golden. Best International Feature was Sentimental Value. Mr. Nobody Against Putin was the best documentary feature. All the Empty Rooms, which is it's available on Netflix, and it's a really haunting uh documentary short. So that won for best documentary short. The Singers won for best live action short film. Two People Exchanging Saliva won for best live action short film. The Girl Who Cried Pearls is best animated short film. I mentioned Golden already. Sinners was the best original score. F1 was the best sound. One Battle After Another was best casting. Frankenstein, best production design. Sinners was the best cinematography. First woman ever to receive the award for best cinematographer. Frankenstein, best makeup and hairstyle, and also best costume design. One Battle After Another was best film editing. Avatar, Fire and Ash for best visual effects. And then Debbie Allen, Tom Cruise, Wynn Thomas, and Dolly Parton won honorary awards for the Academy Awards, my friend. So those are the gist of it. But One Battle After Another took home the lion's share of the big awards, my friend. Your thoughts, my friend, first on One Battle After Another achieving some really good success with Paul Thomas Anderson, director, Sean Penn, who wasn't there to receive his award as best supporting actor, and then of course winning for best film.
So I mean, I never saw the movie. Did you watch it?
I have not yet seen it, but it was the highest rated movie on Metacritic last year, ahead of Sinners and ahead of others. As far as major Hollywood releases, I should say, I want to go ahead and cover my own bases on that. But it was at the time, I thought it was a shoe-in. When it got those tens all over the place, I just thought it was going to be a shoe-in. Paul Thomas Anderson has been someone with a background and pedigree. He had never won an Oscar, but has some of the most acclaimed films of this century, as far as already. So yeah, I thought it was just something where he was going to win. Sinners, again, was going to be very close. Sinners had the most nominations, and I think that's something that was not going to be underestimated, and that it got some awards too. I think 4 out of 16 or 17 nominations. So again, they had some winners as far as is concerned, especially for best original screenplay, and then for Ryan Coogler, and then also as well for Michael B. Jordan. So yeah, again, I thought it was distributed. Oscars doesn't like to do clean sweeps a whole lot. They like to share the wealth, kinda, sorta. So I'd see that as something that's fine. As long as F1 didn't win Best Picture, I think I'm okay. Yes.
As F1 didn't win anything, I think we'll be okay. I
Best
mean,
sound.
yeah,
Best sound.
sound and cinematography, like if it sound and cinematography were great, but I mean, really nothing else about that movie was redeeming, I guess. Like that was it was a pretty movie, but it was pretty hard to watch.
Tell me about it. Yes, as we have a very famous rant on it. Yeah, just absolutely terrible. If you're at all into motor racing, it is a hard watch, as far as it's concerned, as far as plot wise. But yes, nobody can count the visual and audio experience as something less than extraordinary as it was on that end of the scale. So yes, I just did not think it was a quality best picture nominee, but that's just goes without saying. But it was very superficial for me, as far as just looked good, sounded good,
Yeah.
then you had the story, and then that's where it fell off from there. But again, uh, congratulations to all the winners of the Oscars. But I noticed also as well a lot of pushback to Timothée Chalamet. Now, supposedly the Timothée Chalamet comments that disparaging the ballet and the opera. I want to hear your thoughts on this. His comments disparaging the ballet and opera, paraphrasing that nobody goes to see those anymore, and I think that really got the ballerina and operatic industry really up in arms, and it got a lot of pushback, controversy. Supposedly, the polls were already closed when when those statements really started to become viral, so it didn't strike against him. But I know there's a lot of people laughing at him now for that, but I see him as a younger generation who just didn't grow up on ballet and opera. I mean, my dealings with ballet are with my daughters in ballet school. So that's the only real connection that I have to it as well. But with Timothée Chalamet, I think is it a Gen Z thing, you think, that they've just disassociated themselves for certain things that other older generations might have done in ballet and opera?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. I mean, look at Timothy Chalamet, especially Timothy Chalamet. Like he started out as a gaming YouTuber. So I mean, I wouldn't he's not the kind of person I can imagine sitting there watching ballets and operas. Like I know it has its fans, right? It has its fan base as everything else does, but like I don't think people should get all up in arms about him saying that. I mean, everyone else is flaunting their opinions all over the place. That's just his opinion. If you don't like it, then just ignore him. You know, it's not. I don't understand. Like I read about the all this backlash, and I really don't understand like why he's a kid. Like I don't understand why everyone's so up in arms about him
He ain't
saying.
such a kid anymore. He's 30, you know.
Oh, is he 30? Oh, man, geez. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's
You're getting old, my friend.
oh my gosh, I know. But yeah, I mean, I honestly like I think all this vitriol that he's garnered over his thoughts on that, like I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Is there any one particular category you saw as an upset of the major categories that you thought, okay, you thought there was going to be a shoe in for a certain picture or a certain actor or actress that didn't win on Sunday night?
Honestly, man, no, because I have not watched hardly. I haven't seen the only movie that I've seen on any of these lists is Frankenstein. So I don't like I don't know I don't know what any of this stuff is. You know, I know Marty Supreme and I know Sinners because I've seen trailers and I've heard people talk about them. But like this year's Oscars are somewhat beyond me. I feel like.
When it comes to Frankenstein, you and I didn't think it was one of Guillermo del Toro's best, but the production design, makeup and hair. So, I mean, that's obviously a one that they're probably going to win because Frankenstein, right? You know, it's got a really good chance to winning best costume design, best production design, best production design. I know you were one of the few things you were high on, like me, was the color palette that they utilized in that film and the production design. Yes, a lot of it looked like it was studio. A lot of it looked like it was studio, like the scenes where they're outside the ship and you can see in the distance, but it just felt like it was a green screen. So I don't know, you know, which it wasn't exactly, they were not on location, you know, in Iceland or anything like that, but it just felt like it. So the production design was very beautiful to look at, very aesthetically pleasing. You know, maybe a little bit, how shall I say, just not as realistic as I wanted it to be. It looked a little fake, but again, it was so elaborate. The interiors were very elaborate to create that period in time. So yeah, I'd say Frankenstein deserved the things that it got because again, I just didn't think that was overall a great movie, but I thought it looked like a very well spent movie.
You know, on that note, how did Avatar Fire and Ash get nominated for a best costume design? Like there weren't what were the costumes? Like what was that? Like that it's all computer animated. So what were the costumes?
Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, there must have been some live action footage that was done. Not everybody had the mocap signs on, but maybe the soldiers look good. I
Best
can't.
use of camouflage pants. I mean, I don't that really makes no sense to me.
But the fact that it did win for the best visual effects makes it the third IP that won special effects 3 times because
Yeah.
it's won for all 3 movies. Lord of the Rings and also as well Star Wars have won previously 3 or more times. So yeah, I guess you could say. I mean, they have the cutting edge. Cameron is always one of the cutting edge and has gotten the cutting edge with Avatar. Was Avatar Fire and Ash cutting edge to the point we're saying you just wow?
Yeah.
No, you don't have that same feeling when you saw Avatar. Avatar was, in my opinion, using the cutting edge technology that was above anything else we had really seen at that time. So again, while I didn't think it was a great movie, I thought Stephen Lang was great in the movie. I thought he carried the movie as the bad guy. No one could question how cutting edge those special effects were for that time. The following two movies, okay, they look great and they probably deserve their victories, but at this point, we're at a point where Josh, where I think so many other special effects houses can duplicate what Avatar does.
Yeah. Yeah.
To an
And
extent, I should say.
and probably not take as much time in between putting movies out, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. But is there anything else that you thought was surprising? I mean, Amy Madigan as the witch for weapons, I thought to me was you know, I knew going in she was considered a one of the favorites but the fact that she had gotten to that level in the first place for a horror movie, horror movies are usually not fared very well over the course of time with the Oscars. So to see her performance get appreciated, I kind of like that. I'm still mad about Stellan Skarsgård because the fact that he got dissed for Andor from the Emmys, didn't even get nominated, and he carried that series. And then he got nominated for Sentimental Value and didn't win either. So
Yeah.
I don't know. No love for Skarsgård, I guess. So
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the Skarsgård brothers always kind of fall short of the award.
he's the father.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Stellan Skarsgård.
yeah. Stellan Skarsgård is the father. Yes, he's the one that carried Andor, and then Sentimental Value. He did an outstanding job, and yeah, just not to be. But again, not too many just like out of the woodwork surprises. I think that a lot of people either had one or the other, one battle after another, or Sinners in their top two. And yeah, for the most part, it seemed like it was straightforward. Jessie Buckley, I think, was a big favorite. She was of the leading categories. She was the biggest favorite of all of them for her Hamnet performance. I guess she needs that kind of good pub after The Bride has not done so well at the box office. Shout out Hoppers for winning week two. Again, number one at the box office again. So hopefully long life for Hoppers. We'll see. But yeah, again, like I said, no real surprises at the Oscars. So, but I wanted to hear your thoughts. Again, will you make more? Me, I think you and I both. We didn't catch as many high-ranking films as I would have liked last year because of just stuff in our lives, and I'd
You
like
know,
to see if I can do more of that this year.
so I would like to also, but like here's the thing though too is that I'm at a point in life where I can't just sit down and watch as many movies as I used to. So the movies that I do want to sit down and watch are things that like I actually want to watch. Like most of the time, the Oscars, unless it's like I completely meant to watch one battle after another, and I meant to watch Sinners. I just didn't get around to doing it. But like a lot of the time, a lot of these movies announced with the Oscars, like I don't even know that what they are or where to find them or that they're getting nominated for things. Like I look at this list and I've heard of probably less than 10% of these movies. So I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking for when I'm watching stuff like that. So it's like how do I know what I'm supposed to be watching? So like when I have time to watch a movie, I'm gonna watch things that I have actually seen trailers for. you know
Yeah. Well, again, I'm thankful that we still have the ability to do so as far as on streaming outlets. HBO Max, I believe, covers Sinners and One Battle after another. Netflix does have its share of some of the nominees and winners as well. K-pop Demon Hunters, the most prominent. I'm very happy that my number one pick, the movie I did see out of all these, first and foremost, my number one pick for pop culture item of the year, the number one pop culture thing I saw last year was K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm very happy for his success. I still think South Park, bigger, longer, uncut is better, but again, not by much because both are the best animated musicals I've seen ever.
Yeah.
So I will say that again. I'm just very happy for its success, and yes, I know that now means 10 more thousand replays of Golden now that it won the Oscar. But hey, it's a catchy song. I can deal with it. The only thing is, okay, get this on Golden. It's a 2.5 minute song in its entirety, right? They
Yeah.
cut it by at least a minute when they played it last night. I'm like, it's not that long. Instead of the stupid skits that they do, they cut one of the songs. They cut the song in half, a 2.5 minute song. Half. You bring the ladies of Huntrix, all the stuff you had. This whole Korean K-pop theme, writing it on the stage and all that. They had a live performance, and you played it for a minute and a half. And it was just like, okay, you gave everybody in the audience, you gave Leo DiCaprio. My daughter was laughing hysterically, thinking that Leo DiCaprio and Steven Spielberg were holding K-pop lights like they do at the concerts and all waving it during the song. And I'm like, it's only 90 seconds of the song they played. I was irritated by it. And then when they won the Oscar for Best Song, EJ, the lead singer, she got to go ahead and say her words. So it's very poignant. She was very emotional. She was actually rejected because the K-pop factories that are there in K-pop, she was actually rejected by those K-pop factories. And you look at her and you listen to her and you're just like, how did this happen? Who needs to get fired for that? Many years ago, that then when they made that mistake. But yeah, she's just a sensational performer. She got to go ahead and chance and give an emotional speech. But she gave it over to one of the co-writers who was trying to speak in Korean, says 3 words, and they cut to a commercial on him.
Oh, that's messed up.
The K-pop demon, and that is the one you don't want to do because it's the all-time most watched movie ever on Netflix and has a young, fervent fan base, they are pissed off.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
like Swifties, my friend. They
yeah.
are pissed off.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. I know we've talked about this before, but I mean, a lot of the Oscar territory or people who tune into the Oscars and attend the Oscars, it's an old money club, it seems like. So when you're doing something to damage your reputation with the young people, that's probably not the best move for the longevity of an award show that is quickly fading out of favor with people.
Yeah, again, it was just a very bad faux pas, and I don't care about your time, but you know what you could do to save your time? Stop doing some of these stupid skits with, you brought in the bridesmaid crew for Bridesmaid Reunion, and they were doing the stuff on stage, getting notes and talking about going off on jokes on Stellan Skarsgård or Leo DiCaprio. And just like it took forever and it wasn't funny. And these other Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans presented award, and they did a skit, and it bombed. It was bad. I mean, well, first of all, ABC was getting all of its ABC or Disney related projects as far as presenters, trying to give you the hint on many of things, just as far as because it would have like Sigourney Weaver and Pedro Pascal as presenters, and guess what they cut after when it went to the commercial?
What?
Mandalorian Grogu, of course.
Ah,
You see that? Yeah. So,
yeah.
okay, and that's fine. That's no problem. No problem. But enough with the skits. They took away from other things that you could have applied it to, like people giving honest speeches, just even 30 seconds of speech
Yeah.
instead of cutting them off, or a full song of Golden, which is only a 2.5 minute song.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely just was missed. Just the director, it was, that guy needs to just resign, not do it anymore.
Yeah.
The sound was actually bad at times. I don't know why. They just had mic issues all over the place there last night. Yeah. Again, not the finest of technical performances for the Oscars, but I enjoyed most of it. I enjoyed most of what I saw. Conan was good. Conan was pretty good in his brief times as host, Conan O'Brien. So yeah, I give him props for being a decent host, and again, it's just a lot of other stuff missed. But again, if you have thoughts on the Oscars, who won, who lost, who got snubbed, who didn't, who's a surprise, who you're happy for, let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, there's more to come right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. It is Josh the Great Peterson along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. I wanted to go ahead and mention before we get into some video game things and as far as music are concerned, I wanted to go ahead and get into the Yellowstone Empire as far as it's concerned. Yellowstone Empire with Taylor Sheridan. Absolutely just, I don't know. When it comes to what he is doing, because the Madison just came out this week, Josh. The Madison by Taylor Sheridan, executive producing. This guy is the most prolific television producer right now on the planet. I know that we used to do like Stephen J. Cannell, and there was other producers that were out there that you always used to have for a whole bunch of your broadcast network shows. Well, that has evolved, my friend, because if you go to Paramount Plus right now, you are going to see a lot of dependency on the Yellowstone island of shows per se, because Yellowstone, obviously, that one was such a big hit over the years. And then they've done spin-offs, 1883, 1923. They've got 1944 coming up. They've got Y Marshalls, Dutton Ranch, the Madison. These are all spin-offs of that huge success from Yellowstone. Have you been able to partake or dive into anything relating to Yellowstone? Because they also get all these top actors like maybe the ones in their twilight of their career, like Sam Elliott, Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren, Michelle Pfeiffer, just so many actors of note. Kevin Costner, of course, in Yellowstone before he had his falling out. I mean, we've talked about it on a couple of occasions here, but really, it cannot be understated how powerful that Yellowstone IP actually is and how much it encompasses.
Yeah, so I've not watched it. I have, like a lot of other things, it's been on my list of things I mean to watch, and the Landman is another one I've been wanting to check out too. But
that's been a huge success as well.
Yeah, and I am it surprises the hell out of me, man, that when I keep hearing, like, I did not realize how vast this Yellowstone universe is. I didn't realize there's so many shows attached to this mainline show. So I didn't realize how big the universe was. But like and I'm glad he's managed to do what Game of Thrones has not done.
No, it's now doing it, my friend. We're now full into factory mode on Game of Thrones. They're now putting out a ton of stuff on Game of Thrones.
So all the Yellowstone stuff, though, from what I understand, has been pretty critically acclaimed, whereas like Game of Thrones has had its it's been ups and downs.
But the thing is, with Game of Thrones, yeah, we poo-pooed on it as far as that last episode in the last season, but with House of Dragons and now the latest one, the Seventh Kingdom one, that has garnered over 10 million viewers each episode. So it's a huge hit. People have been very forgiving to what they saw in Game of Thrones. Now there's like a prequel and a sequel and a movie in development for all as far as Game of Thrones now. That factory, okay, they heard your call about what Taylor Sheridan is doing. By the way, he also, guess what? You watched Landman, or you wanted to see Landman. Guess who executive produces that? Taylor Sheridan as well. So among the other things that he does. In fact, let's go ahead and get off the rest of his non-Yellowstone projects, and that includes Mayor of Kingstown, Tulsa King, Lioness, Landman, of course, Lawman. Bass Reeves was like a couple years ago, and The Last Cowboy. Yeah, just a few shows here and there, and Game of Thrones under the Paramount banner is going to explode a lot more out there because they're going to give you a lot of Taylor Sheridan and a lot of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it seems to be the two hot properties right now. But yeah, that's we'll see what happens, man.
It's going to be crazy again, and there's people that want tens of millions of people that watch it. So all credit to them for giving them what they want. And again, it reminds me a lot of what we've seen before with NCIS on broadcast television, where you just find something that works and you exploit and make sure it's like a wet rag, and you're just trying to wring it dry of every single last drop of it, and just trying to utilize every single last drop of it. I mean, the FBI shows are all over the place on CBS, Chicago, series that are out there, NBC. They all do it to an extent. Once they find a success, they try to exploit it. Hollywood does as best they can.
Oh, for sure, man.
But we'll see what happens. But if you have any thoughts on the Yellowstone Empire, as I call it, basically that shows the success story of Taylor Sheridan, executive producing right now a ton of shows, just absolutely just having great success. Let us know your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. But my friend, as far as the gaming world is concerned, Slay the Spire 2, my friend. Did you think when you put it down as far as which game would be a success in the past 10 days, which one would be a bigger success? Did you have Slay the Spire 2 as a bigger success than Bungie's Marathon right now, my friend?
No, but also like like we said before, I wasn't expecting Bungie's Marathon to be that great. So yeah, I don't know, man. Yes, that I did not, to answer your question.
Right now, the peak for Marathon, not counting the unknown numbers on Xbox or PlayStation, for concurrent players, has been, I guess the peak of it was at about 88,000, 90,000. Right now, it's around 50,000 for Marathon for Bungie, which, as you and I both know, let's say they triple that, with Xbox and PlayStation, get to 150,000. I don't know if that's considered a success to Sony, especially for the kind of money and allocation of funds that they spent on this game. And I don't know if this means the continuation of Bungie going forward, or possibly the destruction of Bungie going forward. We'll have to wait and see. But Slay the Spire 2, which has been a really vaunted and critical, another game you and I don't think any of us did pick on our lists as far as is concerned for Steam. It's actually been a great critical success, and it sold 3 million copies in just 1 week. Yeah, not quite as high as Resident Evil Requiem, but it's a deck building game. And it's had a peak of 575,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is 5 times what you've seen from Marathon. So again, it's a deck building game as compared to one of the most pedigreed, shooting developers, of the century. What does that tell you, my friend, when a game of a smaller level like Slay the Spire 2 is destroying what we're seeing on Marathon?
I mean, the futures and indies, I guess. I mean, that seems to be the territory we're moving towards, is a place where indie games are higher quality games than a lot of these like AAA titles that are being put out. Because I mean, look at that though. I mean, a lot of people look at Claire Obscure, right? A small studio can put out a masterpiece like that. I mean, then the possibilities are infinite.
It is, my friend. So we will wait and see how this shakes out, but we could be reporting here in some point. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong so much, but Josh, but you and I have been talking about this in the video game industry now for years now, where, if it doesn't meet expectations, I mean, Sony just closed down Blue Point, which was a very well respected studio in its own right. And if Bungie doesn't meet the standards that Sony wants, by summer we could see some real problems at Bungie. And this is the Halo series. The Halo series, gives its start and its origin to a lot of these developers that are working at Bungie right now. And this could be a real problem because they could find themselves out of work in the not too distant future.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Where is Bungie going? What is next for them?
Next could be the unemployment line, and that's a problem. That's a problem indeed, especially the fact that it's not badly received. It just, I think a lot of people, just the extraction shooter concept. It for me, it just seems very hard. It seems very difficult. Seems very unfair at times, as far as people just taking stuff away from you if they kill you and whatnot. And that extraction shooter genre, it's a favorite of some, and it's a hot thing right now. But
Yeah.
I really wish Bungie would just go back to telling those stories in a single player universe, and maybe making it a safer bet with audiences.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think that the extraction shooter is a genre that is not. It's starting to become overcrowded. So I don't know how smart it is to keep making stuff there. But also, like, Bungie needs to just make another Halo without making Halo. That's what they were good at, and that's what they need to keep doing. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm looking at yours and mine. No, there's no Slay the Spire 2 there. Fatal Frame 2 remake. Oh, that's right. That's I got Fatal Frame 2 remake as well. So I had a miss on mine so far. So with our update, Resident Evil Requiem, I got an 89. Fatal Frame 2 remake, I've gotten a 74. And Pokemon Pocopia with you got an 88. So I'm definitely going to have to see one right there that I'm going to have to probably hope that my one of my games, my alternates, replaces Fatal Frame 2 on that. So yeah, definitely concerning right there. Not a great way to go ahead and have that. And then yeah, no Slay the Spire 2. No Slay the Spire 2. But there's also one more game that is coming out this week with a lot of high expectations. You and I also didn't, and TJ did not pick as well, and that is Crimson Desert. Are you familiar or have seen anything of Crimson Desert, which is a big open world action RPG that has a lot of people talking about it as with a lot of previews that have made it looked very good so far?
Yeah, I've seen the trailers for it, and I've seen the gameplay footage. It looks really cool. I know it's a big open world RPG, right, and a big MMO.
Yes.
So,
Well, actually, no. It's just. I think it's just. It's not an MMO. I think it's just an open world. Open world. I don't see if it's a MMO, but it doesn't list itself as an MMO. I may be wrong on that, but I'll take it.
It's not okay. So it was. Oh, okay. So I remember when this game was in like early development, it was planned as an MMORPG, but now it's just a single player open world action adventure game. So I mean, knowing that, I might actually have to check this one out because it looks really cool. I just didn't want to play it if it's just another dump your life into this game style thing.
I am really intrigued by it. I kind of stayed away because I wasn't sure about the animation style and how it would look. So I didn't know if it would actually, getting the whole vibes from it type deal. But it looks a lot better in its final trailers leading up to the game's release this week. And I think it could be, we could be, you talked about Expedition 33 and Slay the Spire 2 has obviously reached that level of indie success story. But this in Crimson Desert, we could be also talking about a possible big hit, surprise big hit of the year in video games, my friend.
Yeah, I absolutely, I agree. It looks. No, I mean my tunes changed to it now. I thought that, like I said, I thought it was an MMO. So now I think I'm gonna have to sit down and check this one out.
Well, there you go. It is Crimson Desert. It is coming out to all the different formats: Xbox Series X, also PlayStation 5. So go ahead, and also PC as well. So go ahead. Let me hear your thoughts out there on Crimson Desert. Do you plan to go ahead and get it this week? I am interested in seeing what this game can do because I might have to pick it up. I know I'm trying to focus in on one game coming in as far as getting in May. I'm looking at trying to get First Light 007. That's probably what I'm going to try and key on. But Crimson Desert up until that time, because I just finished going back in the retro world and finished Sleeping Dogs. I just
Yeah.
finished that campaign. I don't know if you have any good memories on Sleeping Dogs, my friend.
No, I actually never played that. Oh, Brian Kane and Big Dog were really into that one for a while, though.
Yeah, again, I really liked it. At the end, it's good because by the end of the campaign, I was getting a little weary of all the side stuff, which, became a little bit redundant at the end. I wish they had variated a little bit more, but I can see why Simu Liu has been in recent years talking about wanting to adapt this to that type of medium, as far as it's concerned. So, a television or movie medium. So I definitely see why he did it. It's got a nice story, predictable twists, but still, if for a video game in 2014, it was or 2012, 2014, it was actually pretty good as far as it's concerned at the level of what it needed to do. So yeah, if you have a chance, go ahead. It was $3 for the ultimate edition. So if you guys out there want to go ahead and kill 40 to 60 hours, it's right there for you. But yeah, I may be able to think about Crimson Desert here coming up. So yeah, if you have thoughts out there, let us know. Pop Culture Cosmos at yahoo.com. But my friend, before we head on out, before we get to the MCU review, I wanted to give everybody an update on the Firefly tease that they gave last week. It has turned out to be an announcement that Firefly is coming back. They don't know yet as an animated series or movie, but something animated is that they've said, definitely. So they've got an animation studio, but they now have to hit up as far as Hulu, Disney to see how they want to map this out. Or would you be excited for a return to Firefly in an animated form, my friend?
No, no.
Okay.
I mean, this is probably like I can only imagine the disappointment on a lot of people's faces when they announced this thing because everyone's expecting a reunion, but not in an animated form. Like that's what it's one of those things where like you're expecting like a sequel and then they announce a prequel. It's just it's like, oh yeah, cool, there's more, and I'll watch it, but it's not what I wanted.
I think it's a sequel. I think it is a sequel, to be honest with you, that it takes place, but
But it's
um
animated though. Like that's the
yeah.
thing. It's not the medium that people were wanting.
It worked on Star Trek, though. I mean, they got the series canceled. They came back as an animated series and renewed life and interest in it, to the point where Star Trek IP kind of. I mean, a lot of people point to that animated series as the reason why Star Trek still lives to this day. So, or maybe still living to this day. We have to wait and see. But yeah, if you have thoughts on the Firefly animated something, whether it's a series or a movie, they've not. Nathan Fillion said they're not sure exactly where they're going to go with it, but they do have a commitment on something in the animated world. Let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. But speaking of animated series, Invincible season 4 comes out this week, my friend. It's a busy week because they got Project Hail Mary on the back end. I think that's going to really do well at the box office. So at least one of my fantasy picks is going to do well.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, my friend, on Invincible season 4 coming up this week?
Is this the penultimate season or is this leading towards that?
I think it's leading towards that. I think that it's at least one more season. We know that The Boys season, when that comes up, I believe next month in April, that is done. That will be the last episode of The Boys. But I think the Invincible, it's leading up to it. They have not, to my memory, said it's going to be the final season.
Okay, all right, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I like Invincible. I got to catch up on the last couple seasons, but same thing with The Boys. Like I got to just find time to sit down and just knock out a lot of these shows that I've missed over the past couple years.
You and I both, my friend. You and I both, and I actually got to catch up a lot with the Amazon stuff too, as well, here in the not too distant future. But for those that do have Amazon, that love their Amazon indeed, please go ahead and check out Invincible season 4 that's coming out this week. If you have thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. And speaking of catching up on television shows, I am I guess 2/3 of the way through. 6 out of 8 episodes done, and in season 2 of One Piece. I had to rewatch the first couple episodes because it didn't hook me like it did the last time around in the last season a couple years ago. But once I did, I think by episode 3, it really started to hook me. But this world, this manga is so absurd because you have people that look like they're dressed up and acting like it's Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
alongside people that are driving cars and wearing jackets that that look like they're out of the just I don't know, the North End. Just it just is so crazy as far as that's concerned, because like out of an RMI sporting goods store or whatnot. But yeah, it's just crazy that this world, this manga exists, where normal things in our society now are mixed in with fantasy elements, and of course Luffy trying to become the king of the pirates and get the One
That's
Piece.
right. Yep.
Yep. So, have you been able to get a chance to catch up on it yet, or do you plan to?
I plan to. I just haven't gotten a minute to do it. Yeah, it's hard for me to watch TV these days, man. I'm gonna fall asleep every time I sit down.
I did on the first couple episodes. To be honest with you, so I had to rewatch it again, but it's grabbed me from the third episode on this time around. So
Yeah. I'm hearing good things. I hear it's really good. So
we'll see what happens, my friend. But yeah, I will say this: we talked about Frankenstein earlier with the production design, and looked like Netflix spared no expense.
yeah,
If you watch it, just put this in mind. It looks like Netflix spared no expense. It looks like one of those $200 million productions for One Piece. And it just, again, I will never fault Netflix for not wanting to get behind a show and
yeah.
spend a lot of money on it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So, what are your thoughts out there on One Piece Season 2? Let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. And before we get to the MCU review, I wanted to go ahead and talk about a little bit of music, Josh. I didn't get to mention last week, but the Billboard Top 100 charts, Bruno Mars debuted at #1 with his latest album. I know that my wife and daughter are excited to go see a concert that hopefully he will have later on this year in Las Vegas at the stadium. But I wanted to also mention as well, BlackPink put out their latest K-pop album, which reached the top 10, and Gorillaz, who had
Mhm.
a great Saturday Night Live performance. I think this about to you last week. You need to check out the Moon Cave 8-minute video that they did, because it might be on the Oscars shortlist for animated short film next year.
Oh, nice, man. Yeah. Well, um,
It's an ode to Disney's Jungle Book, but it is really well done. And the whole Gorillaz concept about this mythical group that they created out animation and whatnot. So, but they make really good music, and I'm just again they were a big hit on SNL with Ryan Gosling last week.
yeah. Yeah, I actually had a chance to go back and catch that performance. So yeah, it was really good. It's funny, like I've not watched or kept up with the Gorillas over the years, but I think they've still got it, man.
They do. They do. They really sound good. Again, one of their better songs that they put out with Moon Cave. If you want to go ahead and check it out, it's available on YouTube and also Spotify. So go ahead and check it out to Apple Music as well. So yeah, I'm really a big fan of the Gorillas, of Gorillas, I should say. You can't say the Gorillas. So go ahead and share your thoughts out there. Bruno Mars, Blackpink for the K-pop, as far as that's concerned, and Bruno Mars, his success doing on a lot of duets with other people. Now he's doing something back on his own, and it hit #1 on the charts. And Gorillaz also reaching top 10 status with their latest album. So go ahead and let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. But my friend, 6 minutes left. It is time for that MCU review.
Okay, so today we're at the Amazing Spider-Man. So you remember this was a weird time. All right, we had everyone was like, when Spider-Man coming back to the screen with Avengers? Everyone's like, oh, Tobey Maguire is gonna be coming into the MCU. Didn't happen, right? And then there's talk of like Spider-Man 4, where Vulture was the villain, didn't happen, right? It's supposed to be played by John Malkovich originally. Remember when they announced that casting? Didn't happen. So now then we find out that they're going to completely reboot Spider-Man. Everyone's like, oh, are they going to tell the Uncle Ben story again? And yes, they did. But this first movie, the second one we'll talk about at a later date, but this first Amazing Spider-Man was actually a pretty good movie. Like, it had a lot of things going for you. The guy from 500 Days of Summer, I forget, Mark something or other, right, was the guy's name that directed that. He did it, or no, was it? Who directed?
As far as the Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I'll look it up. Go ahead.
But anyways, yeah, he did a good job of, like, the movie was
Mark Webb.
Okay, yeah. So the movie was not just about Spider-Man or Peter Parker. It was like a coming of age superhero movie, and that was something that we've never seen done before, right? Because all these superhero films have all captured different moments in time for these superheroes, just specific moments. Whereas with Spider-Man, we see him like growing up and dealing with life. Like, this movie captured all that stuff, and the soundtrack was great. Like, it was a really great movie. So I really don't know like where 2 went off the rails. And again, we'll talk about that when that movie gets here. But like, this was a good movie. It was a good movie.
I think so. I agree. It was a pretty decent movie. I mean, maybe the villains didn't quite meet up to the standards, I think, from previous villains per se. But I thought the story was okay. And again, Andrew Garfield is an underrated Spider-Man in my books.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, I don't think that each of the Spider-Mans had something different going for him, so it's hard for me to compare them. I like Andrew Garfield the best, but also is a completely different movie. Like, I don't think Andrew Garfield could be Tom Holland Spider-Man. I don't think Tom Holland could have been Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I don't think either of them could have been the Tobey Maguire Peter Parkers. Like, I think that each of these actors handled the movies that they were given really well.
So there it is, as far as the Amazing Spider-Man. Again, I think it was a really solid effort. Again, I think maybe the villains might not have met entirely up to the standards of previous and following villains per se, but again, Andrew Garfield, I think the reason why he really got a lot of shine and a lot of favoritism as far as people liking him when he came back for that role along with Tobey Maguire alongside Tom Holland, was the fact that people started to appreciate his work more. And I know that Sony was not happy with the end result financially of the 2 Spider-Man films with Andrew Garfield. I mean, I think they both were like $700-800 million, but it just shows you that that was unacceptable to them. They brought Tom Holland in there, and to their they were right. That's all I can say, is they were right.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that, so I had read somewhere that Andrew Garfield, actually, Sony was originally talking about bringing Andrew Garfield Spider-Man into the MCU like they did with Tom Holland, but the stipulations were that he would have to sign on for another 6 movies, and he was like, I don't know if like my career is in a place where I can be in a holding pattern for 6 movies, so he ultimately decided that probably wasn't the best thing for him.
Again, I think that when it comes to Amazing Spider-Man, you're right. So if that's the case and he decided to move on from that, I wish that would be clarified. That's what I'd hope to get a clarification on. But again, he's obviously liked his time coming back in bits and pieces. So we'll see what happens, if we'll see more of Andrew Garfield, the Amazing Spider-Man, right there for you. But if you have thoughts on that original reboot of the Spider-Man franchise with the Amazing Spider-Man, go ahead and let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a great episode. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
No, I don't think so, man. I think we talked about all the things. I'm sure we'll have more things to talk about next week.
Yeah, we will, my friend. So much going on as we get closer to the big 500. Hopefully we'll have something special for you coming up here in just a couple weeks right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the pop culture cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.